So Jon, a little bit of history comes back to Acura.
Yes, it has. It certainly has. It's back.
So how did it all come about?
For me, as a stylist of car design, it's a long time coming. I joined this company 22 years ago because I was
Been with Acura as long as there has been an Acura.
Yes, basically that's true. And I fell in love with the NSX. By the time I got here, it was already done. And we're finally making the new one. I'm so happy that I'm being able to get involved with the next generation of vehicles.
Give me a background of Jon. Like, where'd you come from, and what kind of cars were you working on?
Well, it's interesting. Well, I was born in Japan, raised in California. I went to Art Center College of Design. I went straight to Honda in Japan and worked there for about 6 years. Then I've been back in the Los Angeles studio for Honda and Acura for the last 15, 16 years.
You know, Acura's had everything from like the Legend to now the latest NSX. What are the ones that you've been working on?
Well, I would say the one that I really feel close to heart with, that I was seriously involved with, was the 04 Acura TL. It's the TL prior to the current generation that we worked on. I wasn't on that one from beginning to end. I was able to lead the project on that one, and it's what I feel is a very good interpretation of what an Acura is or should be.
So NSX.
Yes.
Came about early on in Acura's career, and it went away for a while. How long have you guys been working on this car to bring it back?
Our president and CEO, Mr. Ito, was the body PL for the original NSX, so he knows what a proper sports car is supposed to be. Basically, he always has the philosophy, and Honda Corporation and Acura embraces this also. It's performance through efficiency. Those are the base foundations for all of our vehicles. This vehicle, the NSX, is epitome. It's the top of the line of a corporation. It represents us as a whole. And he feels that it's always performance through efficiency plus something that the world needs. There's a world issue. The world is always changing. And the plus something that currently is in environmental issues that are out there. And it's very serious for our corporation, and so hence the hybrid version of the NSX.
It's not just going to be a V6, you're actually going to have a full-on hybrid system.
It's a hybrid system, all-wheel drive super handling system. It's going to be, our philosophy is, if this is what the world is needing, how do we bring those necessities with the sporty aspect of driving, just fun to drive? How do we put those two together so we're not just making a green car and then have some performance car? Why can't we have both? And the challenge is there. It's a huge hurdle to, supposedly, allegedly, fantastic mules are flying around the track somewhere.
Somewhere.
And it's all tucked away inside this layout. And at that
Above your pay grade, is that it?
Oh, of course. And you know, they say, okay, here's a layout. Do you want to tweak anything? We were ecstatic. The engine was in the proper place for an NSX, which is in the middle. It's a V6 transverse engine in there. We like the size of this car. That's the first thing that I wanted to mention, is that the size of the vehicle is nice and compact. It's tight. The proportion is a mid-engine. How could we go wrong? The rest is, okay guys, it's going to be an NSX. Here it is. Let's start sketching. And that started to happen maybe about a year ago.
Was there a general idea of where you wanted to go in terms of styling direction from the outset of the project? Because if you remember the original car, it had a unique look, but it borrowed some from other cars of the day.
We've been trying to develop the brand styling direction for a while now. It's been difficult early on because we have studios in Japan, and we have our head design studio in Torrance. You know, we would do things where one will be done in Japan, it might be a round one, and we would do one in America and it might be a square one, you know, and it's hard to build a brand that way. But over the years we've developed our design philosophy, and it's gotten to be very cohesive and focused now, that we could go and tap in on our styling assets globally and have sketches and look at sketches and have lots and lots of people be engaged with this. And let me tell you, when we say NSX, every stylist in the company wants to be involved with the NSX.
Could only imagine.
There's so many guys that weren't on the project, working on a weekend or whatever. Let me just give me a weekend entry so I could get in there and I could put a couple of my sketches in there. We sent our designers to Japan. The hardware was being developed there, so we felt it was better to just send our designers over there. We know we're working with a hybrid system, which might weigh the car down a little bit, but we don't want the car to look heavy. So when we were picking sketches and whatnot, we were talking with the guys, how do we make the car look like it's lighter than it might be, or use materials that are lightweight, because that's what we're famous for with the original. At the time, an all aluminum vehicle wasn't around. And I'm sure to lighten this car, we'll be using some exotic materials for this vehicle also. But how do we visually do that is what we were looking at. And so even in the front area, you know, there's some areas that are pretty much blacked out and things like that. It's some visual weight that we're trying to take out. The pillars not being connected, the mirrors feeling a little bit more.
Oh, that's a unique touch.
Then it just lets it flow through. The pillar back there being separated from the canopy as it sweeps on through. Those are some of the lighter weight feel that we were trying to get. Also, we wanted to convey the image of wind just blowing through the car very smoothly. Cooling intakes, large here, out here, around the car, through the back and out. And those are fantastic little sketches that guys put up there that sold me. Now obviously it's styling. It's styling aerodynamics instead of engineering aerodynamics. And that means I'm sure the engineers will get a hold of it and say that doesn't really work like your perfect sketch does, but there'll be some refinements going forward. And Mr. Honda always talked about, you know, challenging spirit. And we all have it. We want to push it. We're all for it. And we're looking forward to bring this thing to real life.